Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Line Breakers show number 13. I'm Game Day Greg alongside Benny Buckets. We have a fantastic college football show for you this evening. We are recording on a Friday, which is the first time in Line Breaker history, the day before. So we'll have the most updated lines we've ever seen. So hopefully that'll swing in our favor. Because I know, at least for me last week, I was awful, absolutely awful. And I apologize, and I'm going to do something a little spicy this week to hopefully maybe make up for it. It's with the interesting, but yeah. Anyways, Benny Buckets, how are you doing?
I'm good here, Game Day, ready for another slate of college football. We had another, and I think every week we've been at or above 500 here, so another above 500 week last week. Let's recap. I know Greg probably would rather fast forward through this part, but we got to give it for the content here.
Yes. I owe the viewers.
We owe the viewers after a lackluster performance. So Game Day here was 19-32. That's not too good, folks. We won't embarrass him with the percentage, but needless to say, it was below 50% and somewhat below that as well.
It's embarrassing, and I want to take this time to sincerely apologize to the viewers, because who knows, you could have actually played something on this.
Yes.
I was not on my A game, but it'll happen, right? It's just the way this industry is. And I think this is a good point to point out that the disclaimer, I think we should throw this in here.
We'll do the disclaimer if we do the records here.
Okay. After the records.
I appreciate that.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Because we have to get to the good too.
Absolutely. Get to the good as well. So worse than that percentage, though, was his percentage on the best bets. He went a 0 for 3, so 0-3 on the best bets. So that is lower than 19.
Statistically, that is lower than 19 and 32. Yes.
Overall,
thank you for the clarification.
Yes, you're welcome. You're welcome. Of course, you got to point out, got to be transparent with the content and the viewers.
Exactly.
The total for him on the year for Game Day 107 and 127. So 20 games under 500, but he's going last 3 weeks of college football. Plus he's got the bowl games this year. A lot of bowl games. A
lot of time to make it up.
Some odd bowls, probably. Who knows? But a lot of time to come back.
I just need 2 Benny Bucket weeks to get myself back.
For a historic comeback here, Game Day, Greg. And then his overall on the best bets for the year, he was 6-6, but with the 0-3, he's at 6-9 now. 6-9 on the best bets. So for myself, we had another. Slightly above 500 week here, 27-24. Best bets were not great either. We were 1-2. For the year, we're 129 and 105. I'll get that for you guys. Get the percentage for you since it was a positive. There, we'll emphasize with the positive. So let's get that for you on the fly here. That's 55%, 55.12% to be exact. So that's pretty good. The best bets weren't so good. We were, like I said, 1-2 on the best bets for the year. 9-6 under best bets. So we're gonna start off tonight. I'll lead it off here as the just kind of what we talked about pre-show in our pre-production meeting. So I'll start off here. So we're gonna start off first.
With the disclaimer.
The disclaimer. I'm sorry. Yes, thank you for the reminder. So with a disclaimer. So please remember that past performance is not indicative of future results.
Really?
And gambling or betting does involve monetary risk. So only bet with funds that you can afford to lose. And of course, as always, if you do have a gambling problem, please contact 1-800-GAMBLER or a local Gamblers Anonymous group for you to participate in. They can be very helpful. So anyway, to start us off here, now that we've gone through the disclaimer, first game up on the docket is the West Virginia Mountaineers at Kansas State. Where they're not Kansas State Wildcats.
The Jayhawks?
No, Jayhawks. Jayhawks is the Kansas. With the Kansas State Wildcats. So on this one, I'm going to take the under on the 46.5. Next up, East Carolina at Memphis. We're going to go under 58.5. We got a lot of unders this week, folks. Just so you know.
Well, let's backtrack here a little bit already.
A little too fast for the game day.
A little too fast. I'm pulling a Benny Buckets here, folks. If you've been paying attention to all the college shows, most of the time when we're reading off these picks, Benny is a little bit on the slower side as opposed to me. Now, I'm going to forewarn you, this week it's going to be me, and it's going to be me by a mile. And I'll give you a little of that why. But East Carolina, Memphis, you said under 58.5, correct?
I did say under 50.5, East Carolina.
Okay, the first game was what?
Kansas State. It was West Virginia, Kansas State. Kansas State, I took the under on the 46.5.
Let me just write this down. Under 46.5?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Continue, sir.
Okay, thank you. Next up, we've got Mississippi State and Auburn. I'm taking Auburn at home minus 4.5.
Okay.
UCF at SMU. I'm going to take UCF plus a 7.5. Just quick disclaimer on that game. I'm not saying I pick it, but Joe Fortenbaugh, the great Fortenbaugh, as you guys know from some of our past exploits, of the Daily Wager on ESPN2 Daily, typically Tuesday through Friday. For the rest of November, just Tuesday through Thursday, 3 daily shows, and then Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. Eastern. They do a show as well for football there. So they got to wake up early there in Vegas, 6 a.m. with Pacific time if you're in a different time zone. But the great Fortenbaugh, he called this his dog of the day. This is his dog of the weekend, folks. Dog of the day. He liked UCF on the money line plus the 240. So pretty confident there. So should be interesting. But I do like UCF getting the points here, plus a 7.5, 7 in the hook. Next up, we've got Houston at Temple. I'm going to take Houston minus 24 in the hook, so minus 24.5. Next is Rutgers at Indiana. I'll take Indiana minus 6.5. Might be 7 in some places. It's minus 124 on FanDuel. So you might see it at 7 in some places. I'd still take him at 7 if you get him at 7. But
so you said minus 6.5? Minus
6.5 on FanDuel. That's what we're using. But it is minus 124. So you got to lay a bit there if you want to take
Beautiful.
it.
Okay.
Next up, I'm going to take New Mexico State. New Mexico State Aggies here, plus the 51.5 at Alabama. So I will take
That's quite the number.
Yes, it is. I will take the perfectly good wood here, not lay the wood. I will take the thank you very much, Eric Baroni, for that with the perfectly good wood. We'll take it plus the 51.5.
Okay.
Next is a battle in the Big Ten. Good game here. It's the Big Noon countdown, Big Noon Fox game this week with the Gus Johnson and the Joel Klatt for you, those into announcing tandems. Michigan at Penn State. The line is minus 1.5 for Michigan in favor of them. But I'm going to take Penn State and Michigan under the 48.5. Both these teams have really good defenses, top 20 defenses in the country. And both offenses are somewhat suspect. So give me the total. Give me the under on the 48.5.
Okay.
Northwestern at Wisconsin. I'm going to take the under on 40.5.
Okay.
Syracuse at Louisville. I told you guys we're on a lot of unders this week. We're going to take another one here, under 55.5. Syracuse is a running team, and Louisville has gone under, I think, 3 of the last 4 weeks in their games. I very much like the under here. Syracuse tends to play a lot of unders. So give me that under the 55.5. Oklahoma at Baylor. I'm going to take another total here. I'm going to go over 62.5. You have 2 of the top 20 scoring offenses in the league. Frankly, I'm surprised this total is not closer to 70.
I agree.
Utah at Arizona. I'm going to take Utah minus 24.5 at Arizona. Arizona did get their first win in over 2 years. Congrats to them, but I think that winning streak will stop rather quickly. Utah in the running for the Pac-12 South Championship title for the right to participate at the Death Star in Las Vegas and the Pac-12 Championship. That's where it will be this year. Has moved from Levi Stadium in Santa Clara to Las Vegas. And if they win that game, if they do make it there and they win that game and they win the Pac-12, they will play in the Rose Bowl against the winner of the Big Ten, assuming the winner of the Big Ten is not in the college football championship. So Utah will not be, folks. Utah will not be in the college football championship. So we can safely say that if they do win the Pac-12, they will be in the Rose Bowl. So Georgia State at Coastal Carolina. I like the under here. Grayson McCall, the great quarterback from Coastal Carolina, out. Again, he has a shoulder injury. So I'm going to take the under 51.5. Without him there, probably not going to put up as many points. So give me the under on that one. Western Kentucky at Rice. Got bit by this one last week, folks. Gave you this as a best bet here, the Western Kentucky game. I forget who they play. I think it was Middle Tennessee.
I think I gave that, yeah.
Oh, you gave that. Game Day gave
I
that.
gave that.
It was one of his 3 that were unsuccessful. That's okay. It's okay. I bet it, folks. I did bet it. I bet it at the window, and it did not pay off. So I took Game Day Greg's advice, and he owes me a few bucks. He owes me a few
Bet
bucks.
at your own volition. Bet at your own volition.
That's right. With the disclaimer. But anyway, I actually like the over here, folks. It's lower at 62.5. We're not in the 70s anymore. Give me the over on 62.5 between Western Kentucky and Rice. South Alabama at Appalachian State. Similar total here, folks. Similar spread, I should say, as to last week. Appalachian State laying 21.5. It's the exact spread they had against Arkansas State on the road. Granted, they are at home, but South Alabama is a much better team than Arkansas State. I just think this is way too many points. Give me the 3 touchdowns and a hook. So South Alabama plus 21.5. Next up, from the great Ed Wacker, as you guys know.
Here we go, Ed Wacker, yes.
San Marcos, Texas. Georgia Southern at Texas State, the great Ed Wacker Field. Give me the Bobcats representing Ed Wacker there, minus the 2.5, minus 105. Texas State minus 2.5.
Okay.
Florida Atlantic, another one I gave you. I did give you this a best bet last week against Marshall, plus the 1.5 at home. It did not work out. The Nkosi, the great Nkosi Perry, did not do very much, folks. And we'll see. I do expect him to do a little bit more this week. I'm going to go with the total here, though, on this one. Florida Atlantic at Old Dominion. Give me over the 48.5. Florida Atlantic, for you guys interested in the spread, minus 6.5, minus 115 on the road. Iowa State at Texas Tech. I am going to go with the under 56.5, minus 110. Iowa State's got a good defense, doesn't score a whole lot. So give me the under 56.5. Minnesota at Iowa. Talking about two teams that don't score very much. Give me the under on the 37.5. This is the
That's
lowest
a low number.
Lowest total of the week I've seen so far. I think we're going to win on the under here. Both teams can't score. Both teams have pretty good defense. The under on the 37.5. Purdue at Ohio State. Purdue coming off a big win, upsetting the 3rd-ranked Michigan State Wolverines last week at home as an outright winner. They were an 11.5-point dog at
They're
home.
a ranked team killer.
They are. They are ranked. They were within spitting distance of Notre Dame earlier this year. They beat Iowa, and then they beat Michigan State in back-to-back weeks. So you got to give the Boilermakers with the Boilermakers. Give
them credit.
Yes, exactly. I am going to go with Purdue plus the 20.5, minus 110 at Ohio State. The coach there, Purdue. I think it was Bone. What's his name? 1 second, I'm just looking this up. Thought he was.
What are we looking up, sir? What are we looking up?
The Purdue football coach.
Yes.
Yeah, Brom. Yes, his brother was Brian Brom, the outstanding stat there at Louisville back.
Former Bills quarterback, Brian Brom.
Yes, former Packer. He was drafted by the Packers, but former Bills quarterback. Drafted before Aaron Rodgers. He did not pan out.
Number 5. Never forget Brian Brom.
Yes. In addition, other Bills greats like Thaddeus Lewis and Jeff Toole time, of course.
Yes, Toole time.
Were you
Jabron Hamden.
Yep. Yes. Very.
Kelly Holcomb. Yes, we're going into the
Alex Van Pelt back in the day. Yes.
Maybe we'll have a line breaker show where we go on and back and forth on every backup quarterback for the Buffalo Bills to ever play, and whoever guesses last wins. So whoever doesn't come up with one loses. So maybe we'll sprinkle that in, folks.
Yeah, I think you'll win that one, sir. I think you go back with the Bills a little bit further than I do. So I don't go back. I don't go back too much further than Nathan Peterman. So
You would go for Arizona goalies there over there with
yes,
Darcy
I
Kemper.
could. I could do with the Arizona. I could do with the Arizona goalies. Yes, with the.
Yes. All right. Well, we're getting off track, folks. We
Well,
apologize.
Auntie
Way
Ron.
too long for a pre-production meeting. But,
Yes. So,
that's
okay. Anyway, Georgia next game. Georgia moving along. Game day says Georgia at Tennessee. I am going to go with the over. Give me the over on the 55.5. Miami of Florida at Florida State. I'll take Miami of Florida minus 2.5, or the U as they call it. Duke at Virginia Tech. I'm going to take Virginia Tech minus 10.5. Another game that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. Boston College at Georgia Tech. Boston College, I believe, is 78% to the under this year and only 2%, 22% to the over on their games. Yet this total has moved up. This total opened up at 52 against Georgia Tech. Now it's at 54.5, and it's shading to the over, minus 115 to the over, minus 105 to the under. I'll take the under here all day, folks. I just don't see a whole lot of points. BC plays a lot of good defense. They don't throw the ball a whole lot. They tend to run the ball. Georgia Tech, same. They're a running team, not a passing team. So I expect a lot of clock to be run off here. Give me the under on 54.5. Charlotte at Louisiana Tech. I'll take Charlotte plus the 7.5, minus 122. UAB at Marshall. I'm going to take the over 55.5 in this game. Both teams have pretty good offenses and are pretty potent. From that standpoint. So Louisiana Lafayette at Troy. Give me Troy at home as a home dog, plus a 6.5, minus 108. Florida International against Middle Tennessee State. I'm going to take Middle Tennessee State minus 10.5 at home, minus 105. And as you guys know, this is one of my favorite teams. Another USA favorite.
This matchup must.
This is an interesting matchup. You're talking about the best from Conference USA and the worst from Conference USA. Of course, we're talking about Southern Miss going into the Alamo Dome to take on UTSA, University of Texas, San Antonio Roadrunners against the Southern Miss Golden Eagles, or the Hurricanes. I don't know what they're called, but maybe Game Day knows he lives there. But
Southern Miss, yeah, they're
Golden Eagles, aren't they?
I think Golden Eagles, yes.
Golden Eagles, okay. I like UTSA here. You're laying the lumber here, but give me them minus the 32.5. They're finally been ranked in the college football playoff rankings, finally, after being snubbed last week, but their big win over UTEP, which we gave you, by the way, as a best bet. We gave you UTSA minus the 11 at UTEP, and they won by 30, or more than that.
UTSA on the money line is minus 10,000.
Yes, they are.
Looking to gain a little couple pennies. Yes.
If you want to lay 10,000, you can win $100. So
yes.
Give me UTSA minus 32.5. And if you get lucky there, you take Southern Miss. Betting 100 will net you 2,500. So 25-1 on the money line there for Southern Miss. Don't think it's going to happen, but there you go. Tulsa at Tulane. I am going to go under the 55.5 in this one. Maryland and Michigan State. I'm going to go under 60.5. I told you guys a lot of unders this week. A lot of unders. South Carolina at Missouri. South Carolina minus 1.5, minus 105. Another minus 1.5 pick here for you folks, 2 in a row. Again, one of my favorites. They're coming off 2 tough losses. One was close to Florida Atlantic. One not so much to UTSA. UTEP, the UTEP Miners looking to bounce back against the Green Frogs, I believe they're called, of North Texas or something of that.
Yikes.
So
North Texas Green Frogs.
Green Wave, I don't know, something of that nature. Give me UTEP minus the 1.5, minus 105. Hawaii at UNLV. UNLV, their first win of the season last week against New Mexico. We gave you that one as well. Catching, I believe, 2.5 or 1.5 at New Mexico. We told you New Mexico is not very good. Give me Hawaii minus 3.5, minus 102. Arkansas State at Louisiana Monroe Warhawks. Give me the under 66.5, minus 112. Stanford at Oregon State. Give me under the 55.5. Kentucky at Vanderbilt. We'll take Kentucky minus 22.5. Arizona State at Washington. Washington's coach has been suspended. Probably should have been fired. He assaulted a player on his own sideline, but he only gets a 1-game suspension. So anyway, he will not be coaching this game. Jimmy Lake. I don't know if assault's the right word. I think he grabbed his face mask and shoved him or something. But anyway, getting off the extracurriculars of Jimmy Lake. Give me Arizona State minus 6.5. Texas A&M at Ole Miss. Texas A&M, Ole Miss. Give me Ole Miss plus 2.5 at home as a home dog.
You said Ole Miss here?
Ole Miss plus 2.5. Yep.
Okay. Perfect.
Air Force at Colorado State. I'm going to take the under on this game, under 45.5.
Okay.
New Mexico at Fresno State. I'm going to take the under once again because New Mexico doesn't score very much. The under on 50.5 minus 106. Arkansas at LSU. I'll take the over 59.5 minus 105. Wake Forest, North Carolina State at Wake Forest. Give me the over 64.5 on this one, minus 115. Kansas at Texas. I am going to take the points here, the big points. Kansas plus 31.5. Notre Dame at Virginia. I am going to take the under 63.5 minus 114.
Hold on, can we back up a little bit here? This is where Game Day Greg stopped writing things down because he's got a new strategy, which we'll talk about. The Kansas versus Texas, you said?
Plus 31.5.
Okay, and what was that last game there?
Notre Dame at Virginia under 63.5 minus 114.
Under 63.5. Okay, all right, we're just a little off track there, but there we go.
Correct. TCU at Oklahoma State. I'll take TCU plus 11.5 minus 110. Colorado at UCLA. Taking the over 57.5 minus 110. 3 more games left here. Washington State at Oregon. Let me get Washington State plus the 13.5 minus 106. Utah State at San Jose State. I'll take Utah State plus the 4.5.
I may have to find that one here. Nice. Utah State versus San Jose State.
Mm-hmm.
You said plus 4.5?
Yep.
Okay.
And then Nevada at San Diego State. I am going to take Nevada plus 2.5 plus. No, excuse me. The under in this game, under 44.5. Minus 1.
Under 44.5. All right, perfect. So you definitely want to ride Benny Buckets here. He's been absolutely fantastic in college football. That goes without saying. And
also 2-1. Also 2-1 our daily picks today, but who's counting? So
yes, who's counting? And folks, we know we said that we were going to make the Twitter page with the Twitter page confusion here. We will be making the Twitter page is on a bit of a delay due to the workloads of the crew here at Linebreaker Sports, but yeah, we will get that out.
We will get that out. We will be up relatively. We won't give a date now because you said Monday and it wasn't there, so we will not make any prognostication.
We will not make the
Now I do have best bets, and remember, as if you did turn into the last show, our NFL show, we have added 2 new segments, not only to the NFL show, but
we're doing this for college football.
We're gonna do our upset special
to make a short show longer.
Yes, to make a short show longer. Upset special, and we will also be doing what were they thinking. But I will give my best bets first, and then I'll let Greg do it, and then we'll do our upset special and what were they thinking. So my best bets this week. Let me write these down. First best bet, I am going to go with the over on the Oklahoma Baylor game. You got Oklahoma averaging 38 points per game this year. and even better since Caleb Williams came into the lineup, replacing Spencer Rattler, the presumptive favorite at the beginning of the season to win the Heisman, and now he can't even win his own quarterback job. So that probably is not going to work out for him. So give me the over 62.5 for Oklahoma and Baylor. Two top 20 offenses, and Oklahoma's defense has been pretty poor the last 3 or 4 weeks. So going to go Oklahoma, Baylor over the 62.5. Next up, it's a tough one for me. I am going to go with my gut here on this one. I just thought about maybe doing the Penn State Michigan under, but I'm going to go with my gut. I don't really understand this line movement, folks. I guess.
Is that what were they thinking?
Well, we can't do that. You can't jump the shark. It may be the what were they thinking as well, but I'll do it as my best bet. I don't understand it. It went from 52. BC is 78% to the under this year. Georgia Tech runs the ball. They don't throw it much. I see a lot of clock being chewed up on the ground and not a whole lot of aerial attack from either team. Don't understand it. BC's got a good defense. Georgia Tech is not a great defense, but just don't understand this line. I got this in early on the week on Monday night at 52. I wish I would have waited because now it's up to 54.5. And I actually teased this on DraftKings, under 50.5, under 50 points, plus 185 on this because I just don't understand it. I think this game is going to be probably in the 30s or 40s. I don't even think it'll break 50. So give me BC at Georgia Tech under 54.5. So BC under 54.5. And then the last one, we've always, you know me, we like the lower divisions. I picked 2 teams that were in Power 5 conferences. We got to pick something out of the group of 5. You know what I say? The money to be made is in the lower divisions here, folks. Now, you may think I'm going to go with UTSA against Mississippi State. And in this case, you'd be incorrect. I just don't feel comfortable laying that many points, 32.5 at home. So there's with the Greg shock face there, with the game day shock face. I'm going to go with UTEP against a pretty bad North Texas team. By the way, a North Texas team that was losing at halftime to Greg's Golden Eagles or Golden Hurricanes, whatever they're called, the Golden people. They were losing. Golden Eagles. Yes. Golden Eagles. Thank you for the clarification. With the clarification with the Golden people.
And folks, let us know if North Texas is really called the Green Frogs.
I think they're the Green Wave. I think they're the Green Wave.
The Green Wave.
Something like that.
Green Lightning.
We'll look it up. We'll look it up. But the point is, North Texas, regardless of the nickname, let me see. North Texas football. Here we go. They are the Mean Green football. The Mean Green. They're actually called the Mean Green. Kind of like Gangrene. They're the Jets.
Mean Green Frogs.
The Jets of college football.
It all works.
Yes, which means Green Frogs, Green Wave, Mean Green. It's the Mean Green. The Mean Green were losing to the Golden Eagles last week at halftime, down 14-7. That's all you need to know. They're not a very good team. I think UTEP's being disrespected here. I know it's a road game, but only laying a 1.5 after starting the conference year before these last 2 games undefeated. I think they were 5-0 in conference, still 5-2. This doesn't make any sense to me either. Give me UTEP minus the 1.5. Also got this one at the window early in the week, minus 1.5. So give me UTEP, the UTEP Miners minus 1.5. So to recap here, we got Oklahoma Baylor over 62.5. We're giving you 2 totals. BC and GT or Georgia Tech under 54.5. And then the UTEP Miners minus 1.5 at the North Texas Mean Green in Denton, Texas. So those are our picks for week 11 of the college football season. And we'll be back a little later with our upset special and what were they thinking. Go ahead, Game Day.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Benny Buckets. So, folks, I alluded to it at the beginning of the show. I'm going to be changing things up. I'm going to try it 1 week. We're going to go with first look gut pick special week. That's what I'm calling it. First look gut pick special week. So make sure you write that down. Comment down below that exact phrase for your chance to be the viewer of the month. A new show, new thing we're running this month. So I'm going to run through these. Ben, I'm going to trust you to write these down because I'm not going to write them down. It's just going to take too much time.
Yes.
But all right, let's just get started here. I'm going to go on the FanDuel Sportsbook, just run down. If we haven't even covered them, I'm going, you could just interrupt me, say, you know what, we're not covering this game, because there's a whole lot of games here. So we'll just get going. Game day, Greg had a long week. Long.
With the long.
With the long. So, all right, let's get started here. East Carolina versus Memphis. Are we doing that game?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna go Memphis -4.5 here.
You click on the more. You click on with the more games, because that was not my first game. So you click on with the more NCAA football on the app there.
You want me to click on that?
Yes, click on the more, because otherwise it'll be out of order.
I did.
You did. You did.
Let me do it again.
Was that the first? Yes. With the confusion, folks. With the confusion,
folks. It wouldn't be a show without it. All right. So is your first game then? Let's see here.
My first game, Kansas State, West Virginia.
Oh, okay. That is not even okay. Let's see here. With folks, this is a good time to let you guys remind you that we do like to use 3 to 5 sports books.
Well, let me give you what Kansas State, West Virginia. Kansas State was a 4.5 point favorite. West Virginia 4.5 point underdog. No, 5.5 point. 5.5 point favorite. The total is 46.5.
I like the over, 46.5.
KSU over. Okay. Next up.
You said Kansas State versus West Virginia. Oh,
yeah.
I see. Yep, I think we're on the same page here now. I thought that was in the third quarter.
On the same page. On the same page. Yes.
Yes. All right. So now it's East Carolina, Memphis, correct?
Yes, correct.
All right. I'm going to take Memphis -4.5.
Okay.
Mississippi State versus Auburn. I'm going to go the over 50.5 here.
All right.
UCF versus SMU. I'm going SMU -7.5.
All right.
Houston versus Temple. I am going with Houston -24.5.
Okay.
New Mexico State versus Alabama. That is a lot of points. So I'm just going to stick with the over the 67.5. Michigan versus Penn State. I'm going Michigan -1.5.
Okay.
Northwestern versus Wisconsin. I'm going to go under the 40.5.
Okay. Yep.
Syracuse versus Louisville. I'm going Syracuse +3.5.
Okay.
Oklahoma versus Baylor. I agree with Benny Buckets. I'm going over 62.5. I think there could be 70 to 80 points in that game, but because I said that, it's going to be 30 to 40. We did not do Connecticut versus Clemson. We're not covering that, correct?
Oh, well, I might have missed that. Yes, we are. That is a Division I game. So go ahead and pick yours, and I'll give you my pick on that.
All right, Connecticut versus Clemson. I am going to go with the under 51.5.
What's the line on that?
40.5. You could probably guess what team is favored by 40.
Clemson under 51.5, you said?
Yeah, Connecticut, Clemson under 51.5.
Under 51.5. Okay. I'm going to go with UConn plus the 40.5.
Yeah, Clemson's off. Clemson should not. Oh, I almost just talked myself into changing that pick. Yeah, no, I'm going to stick with the under because Clemson's been so bad. I agree with Benny Buckets there. I think both of those would hit. Anyways, moving right along. Utah versus Arizona. I am going to go with the Utah Utes, maybe -24.5. Is it the Utes?
The Utes.
Aztecs?
Utes.
Okay.
San Diego State. San Diego State is the Aztecs.
Aztecs. Okay, perfect. Thank you for the West Coast team names there. All right, Georgia State versus Coastal Carolina. I'm going to go Coastal Carolina -7.5.
All right, -10.
Western Kentucky versus Rice. I do agree with you. I think the over the 62.5 will hit.
Okay.
South Alabama versus App State. Again, I'm going to go with you here. South Alabama +21.5. Georgia Southern versus Texas State. I am going to go the over 51.5.
Yeah.
FIU versus Old Dominion. I am going to go with the under 48.5 here.
Said 48.5.
Yeah, 48.5.
Okay.
Iowa State versus Texas Tech. I'm actually going to go with the over the 56.5 as opposed to, I think Benny Buckets said the under here in his game. I'm going to go with the over the 56.5.
Okay.
Minnesota versus Iowa. I am going to go with the over the 37.5 as opposed to the under, like Benny Buckets, which he's probably dead on, but I'm just never going to bet an under with 37.5 points total in the game. You never know. Purdue versus Ohio State. I'm going to go Ohio State minus 20.5. I think this is a letdown spot for Purdue. They have been hot, but Ohio State's offense, I think, will be just too much to handle for Purdue. Georgia versus Tennessee. I am going to go with Tennessee plus 19.5. They could wake up for this game.
Yeah.
Miami versus Florida State. Miami minus 2.5.
Yep.
Duke versus Virginia Tech. I'm going to go with the under 51.5. Boston College versus Georgia Tech. I'm going to ride with Benny Buckets here. He gave that fantastic stat. I'm not going to go against and pretend I know something more than him with regards to this game or most games in college football for that matter. But I'm going to go the under the 54.5.
Okay.
Charlotte versus Louisiana Tech. I'm going to go with Charlotte plus 7.5. UAB versus Marshall. I'm going to go with Marshall minus 4.5.
You said UAB what?
Versus Marshall minus 4.5.
Marshall. Did you pick the UCF game already?
I have not.
Okay. Make
It
sure.
has not shown up on the radar yet.
Okay.
Louisiana Lafayette versus Troy. I am going to go with the Louisiana Lafayette minus 6.5.
Okay.
FIU versus Middle Tennessee under the 55.5. Southern Miss versus UTSA. Get your channel guides out, folks. This is the game to watch at the 3:30 p.m. Eastern slate of the Saturday games. I'm going UTSA minus the 32.5. I will always bet against Southern Miss, but it's just
they have only won one game, folks, this year against the spread. They've only won one game, period, and they've only won.
That was the first game of the year.
Was
I believe.
Was
I could be mistaken.
Grambling, if I'm not mistaken. So
yes, take that for what it's worth, folks. Tulsa versus Tulane. I'm going to go with Tulane plus 2.5. A little upset there. Maryland versus Michigan State. I am going to go with Maryland plus 12.5. South Carolina versus Missouri. I'm going to go with the under 55.5. And I'm going to go back on that Maryland-Michigan State game, the first go back of the year. We're going to go with the over the 60.5 instead of Maryland plus 12.5.
Okay.
UTEP versus North Texas Mean Green. I'm going to go with UTEP minus 1.5.
There you go. Good boy. All right. There you go. Best bets.
When you're down, you learn to ride with the ones that are hot, folks. But put all pride aside. We want to win here, and we want to give you winners. And Benny Buckets has certainly been that this year in the college football slate. Hawaii, UNLV, I'm going to go Hawaii -3.5. UNLV won their first game, what you say, in 2 years.
Yeah.
So for them to be a 3.5 point underdog the next week, I think this could be a letdown spot for UNLV. So give me Hawaii -3.5. And then Arkansas State versus University of Louisiana Monroe. I am going to actually go the under 66.5 here. Stanford versus Oregon State. I'm going to go with the under 55.5. Kentucky versus Vanderbilt. I'm going to go with Kentucky -22.5. Arizona State versus Washington. I'm actually going to go Arizona State -6.5. Don't like that pick, but I think that over-under is a little close. Texas A&M versus Ole Miss. I am going to go with Ole Miss +2.5. Going back to the well with that one. Air Force versus Colorado State. I'm going to go with the under 45.5. New Mexico
40,
versus
45.5.
Yeah, under 45.5.
All right.
New Mexico versus Fresno State. Fresno State -24.5.
Are they playing Fresno?
Fresno State's playing New Mexico.
Okay, thank you.
New Mexico. Arkansas versus LSU. I am going to go Arkansas -2.5.
Arkansas. Okay.
Arkansas, I think their offense will be too much to handle. LSU's playing hard for Ed Orgeron last year. Go Tigers. So we'll have to see if they show up. North Carolina State versus Wake Forest. I'm going to go Wake Forest -1.5.
Another North Carolina battle, in-state battle here. -1.
Yes.
Okay. The last one did not go. The last one did not go so well for Wake Forest. So
yes. Against North Carolina. That was a 58-55 loss, I believe.
Yeah.
If memory serves me right, but it's late. All right, so I'm going to go Kansas versus Texas. I'm going to go the over 61.5.
okay.
Notre Dame versus Virginia. Notre Dame -6.5.
I believe it's 7.5. Not 6.5.
Oh, I'm reading it right off the screen.
Must have changed. What time is that game?
7:30 Eastern.
Oh, you're right. Okay. Yep. All right. Got it.
All right, TCU versus Oklahoma State. I'm going to go over the 53.5.
Okay.
The Colorado versus the UCLA. I forgot their Bruins. UCLA Bruins. I'm going to go UCLA -17.5.
Yes, the Bruins versus the Buffaloes.
Yes.
-17.
Right. Washington State versus Oregon. I'm going Oregon -13.5. Utah State versus San Jose State. I am going to go with, drum roll, San Jose State -4.5. And finally, folks, to close out the slate, Nevada versus San Diego State. I'm going the over the 44.5.
Over 44.5. Got it.
Correct.
Your best bet, sir.
My best bets this evening will be, that's a question. I did not think I was going to be getting this early, but with the progression of the show, how could you not? My best bet is going to be Miami -2.5 versus Florida State.
Miami
FL.
minus 2.5 versus Florida State.
Yep.
Ohio State minus 20.5 versus Purdue.
Oh, okay. You're confident in that pick. Interesting. With the
I
interest.
am.
Okay.
I like Ohio State in that spot a lot.
Okay.
And then finally, I am going to go with Southern Miss versus UTSA.
Wow, UTSA minus
UTSA minus what is it, 31 or 32.5?
32.5. Yeah.
32.5. Yes. Those are my
right.
3 best bets.
All right. Well, now we'll get to the interesting. We'll just go alternate back and forth. Let's do I'll do my upset special, and then Greg will do, and we'll do my what were they thinking, and then Greg can do both. So, if you guys didn't join us last week, the upset special is a pick where we are.
How do we say the upset? How does Benny Bucket say the upset special?
We'll get to it in a second. We'll get to it in a second. We haven't actually made it yet, so we'll get to it.
Okay.
Okay. Appreciate that, though. Appreciate
Absolutely.
it. This is a segment that we have borrowed. We were emulating from JT the Brick, John Tudor. He is a national radio host, been on Fox Sports Radio in the past. He's got a local show in Vegas. He's now on Mad Dog Sports Radio on Sirius XM, the great, as he calls it, the powerful 82, channel 82. He got his start winning the Smack Off for you Jim Rome Jungle fans, the Smack Off. He was the winner of the, I believe, the first Smack Off, if I'm not mistaken. He was a stockbroker in New York, and he decided he wanted to make a career in sports radio, and he just did it. He won the Smack Off, and he took off from there. And he is now a nationally or was a nationally syndicated host on terrestrial, and now nationally syndicated on Mad Dog Radio on the satellite SXM for your stock ticker symbol, if you guys are interested on that. Traded on the New York Stock Exchange for all those interested with the Sirius. But he came up with this. This is not they're going to cover the spread. In order to win this, you have to pick a team that is getting points, so is plus on the spread, and wins the game outright. So last week we just give you a little preview of our NFL show. I picked the Atlanta Falcons, and they did win it on the last second.
And I picked the Houston Texans, who did not win.
He did not. Yes, he did not win. But we won. We won not only on the spread on the 6.5, but we won outright on the win. Atlanta 27, New Orleans 25.
Plus 3.5, I believe.
Plus
Falcons. Was it 6.5?
Plus 6.5. It was 6.5.
Oh, okay. All right. Very good. Very good.
That was our upset special. If you took them on the money line like I did, you got them at plus, I believe, plus 240 or plus 235. So that was a good one. But anyway, this week for my upset special, a little sprinkle. Yeah, we did do a sprinkle.
For your what?
Little $30 sprinkle on the Atlanta money line there. Paid
for your what this evening, Ben? For your what?
Well, we're gonna get to it. Just gotta pick the game.
I'm just excited to hear it. I think the viewers are as well.
Okay. So I'm just reviewing here. I did not pick this out before. Okay. Let's see.
Let me go ahead and give mine first, because I think
Okay.
the viewers are much more interested in what you have to say than what I have to say when it comes to college football.
Okay.
For my upset special here, folks, I'm going Syracuse to win outright against Louisville. They are currently plus 132 on the money line, plus 3.5 with the spread, minus 28 to the plus 3.5. But I think Syracuse is in a position where I could see them winning this game outright. So yeah, give me Syracuse plus 132.
All right. I am going to go a little with the copycat, but I do think it's the best pick. So for mine, I am going to go with the Fortenbaugh pick. Give me UCF plus 7.5. You can get them on the money line. I believe around plus 240. So for my upset special, UCF for the upset. That is my upset special.
He's just yelling into the
So UCF for the upset special. That was my upset special. UCF plus the 7.5 to win outright. And I don't even know who they're playing, folks. It shows you how much you need the upset special. Whoever they're playing, it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. Give me UCF football here. Oh, at SMU. UCF at SMU. Give me UCF on the upset special.
I'm crying. He was so into his upset, especially forgot who UCF was playing.
So now into what were they thinking?
Oh my God.
I am going to go for my what were they thinking line. I am going to go with the UTEP game, folks. I just don't understand this. I could have gone with BC and Georgia Tech, but North Texas was losing, as we said last week, at halftime to SMU. It took a heroic comeback, a 31-0 turnaround in the second half to defeat SMU by, I believe, 20 points or 24 points. So they were losing 14-7 at halftime. I think they won 38-14 or 38-17. Regardless, a huge second half comeback to beat the worst team in Conference USA and one of the worst, probably one of the top 5 worst teams in all of Division I college football, folks. So they have a losing record. I believe they're 3-6, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe 3-7 is 3-6. I think North Texas, the Mean Green, are against a team that had won, I think, 4 in a row and only had 2 conference losses. And one of their conference losses was by far to the best team in all of Conference USA, UTSA. They've just been destroying people every week. So you almost have to put an asterisk next to it. They only have really one conference loss against a team that's not UTSA. That's FAU. So what were they thinking? I don't understand this line at all. UTEP's the much better team. With just a better team overall. They should easily beat them. I think this should be closer to a touchdown, somewhere in the neighborhood of 6-8. And yet we're only having to lay 1.5 with UTEP. So give me UTEP for what were they thinking, -1.5.
UTEP, what were they thinking? -1.5. Okay, very good. Thank you, Benny Buckets, for your pick. For me, I'm going to go a little different here. This is a what was Game Day Greg thinking on his what were they thinking pick. Digest that as you will. But I'm going to go with Arkansas -2.5 against LSU. I don't understand this line. I get LSU showed up and played well last week, but I think Arkansas's offense is just way too powerful for LSU. Even though LSU is at home, they're playing hard for Go Tigers at Ogeron. Arkansas spread here is my what were they thinking. All right, folks, and I think that is going to do it for today's college football show. Show number 13 here at Linebreaker Sports. We always have a fantastic time doing this. I'm shooting from the hip this week, not preparing one iota, and we're going with the gut feeling. And Benny Buckets is just going to keep rolling, folks. I mean, he's been absolutely on fire all year. He's going to keep rolling. But anyways, happy viewing Saturday college football, a full slate for you guys. So get your spot on the couch, sit back and relax, and make sure you have that full channel guide with all the college football games. I believe some accounts.
Make sure you're subscribed to ESPN Plus, Stadium, CBS
Yes.
College Sports. You know, you got some of these games, especially these lower conferences and divisions. I tell you, guys, getting into the weeds. You gotta pick through. You gotta see. Is it
Point
on
your antennas in the northwest
west
direction.
Is it on CBS Sportsnet on Facebook? You might get one of those. That was Marshall and FIU last week. You really gotta get into it, folks, if you want to be watching these games and be an expert. So you do what you got to do. You get into the weeds, and you try to beat 24 games above 500. I mean, that's the way it goes. So
Anyway, all right, folks.
Signing off now for
Signing off.
football special, and we'll have this episode uploaded shortly.